Okay, good evening, folks, and welcome to the 48th meeting of the 13th elected Town Council of Happy Valley, Goose Bay, and our public meeting this evening. I will, before the meeting starts, send regrets or bring regrets from Councillor Compton Hobbs, as she's out of town and unable to attend our meeting this evening. So I just want to get that done. You have the agenda before you. Is there any items you'd like to add or whatever to the agenda before we go ahead and proceed to accept it? No. We're good? Okay. Motion to adopt the agenda of the 48th meeting as presented, made by Councillor Brumfield, seconded by Deputy Mayor Wallace. All those in favour indicate with aye.
Aye.
Aye. Contrary-minded? Okay, passed. We've accepted our agenda. Any delegations? One delegation now? Okay. Got in under the wire, sir. And who's the delegation? If we'd get you to come to the microphone. And does somebody have the little thing, or will I just read it? Or just... Uh-oh. Well, welcome to Council Chamber, sir. What I will ask you to do is state your name for the record, and the public who are watching. The process with delegations is an opportunity for you to present to council, about 10 minutes, and in that there'll be no discussion back and forth. If a councillor wishes to ask a question for clarification, fine, and if not, the floor is yours, sir.
Okay.
Welcome to council.
Right on, thanks. Yeah, so my name is Darren Dinsmore, resident here in Goose Bay, and for some time now we owned the property of the old downhill ski property here in town, and we're looking to reopen that here in the near future. And so I just wanted to let you guys know a bit about what we've been up to. We've slowly picked away at sort of restoring the ski hill property down there, and the maintenance alone down there is quite a large task, but we've been enjoying ourselves. You know, just it's so beautiful down there, working away at that. But we're really hoping to bring to the community the opportunity for people to come skiing and snowboarding and even tubing and some other activities for that. And so far this year we have I've been working on renovating the wheelhouse for the J-bar lift that's down at the bottom of the beginner's hill. And our hope is that we would get the J-bar lift on the beginner's hill to the point this season that we could open up to the community. And I think it's a very likely possibility that we could open up for this season. I was speaking to the chief inspector, the chief lift inspector this afternoon regarding getting this lift recertified, and that's sort of the next major hurdle we need to accomplish. And he assured me that he was happy to see this project move forward, and he even said he would do whatever he could in his power to help us through that. And as long as, you know, he suggested as long as we have a open relationship and communicating that way, that we could get this task done. So that was really good to hear from him. And that said, we already have our ski hill insurance in place for this coming season. So that's not something that we need to take care of anymore. But the reason I wanted to approach you all tonight is just the potential of the town partnering with us to raise the funds of $10,000 so that we could open for this coming season. Those funds would be going towards things like upgrading the electrical systems of the lift, as well as the fees for an engineer to approve the lift design for this project. So by partnering with us, it would help us achieve three things. First, we would be able to have some of the electrical components, as I said, be replaced, like relay switches and emergency shut-off switches. And secondly, we would be wanting to get our lift drawing stamped and resubmitted to the province for approval and certification. And lastly, we're hoping to gather a group of volunteers to clear some of the brush that's on the hill. Our goal is to really just keep it small and responsible. The goal this year is really just to prove the concept that we can make a go of this, and that the community does want to go downhill skiing and enjoy the outdoors over there. So we're just trying to keep it small, as I said, just focusing on that beginner's hill, and perhaps even the next run over, if we could reach over to the next run from the top of the beginner's hill. And then from there, we would look at the potential of moving forward and opening up more runs, and even the main ski lift there on the hill. So yeah, that said, that's really all I have to say tonight. Really excited as to, over the last 6 years that we've had the property, I've tried to kick the ball down the field a little bit, and then, oh no, it doesn't work. And then, we'd work away, and I have other jobs as well. So I kicked the ball down the field a little bit more. And just this fall, we thought, well, we'll give it another kick. And it seems like things are starting to roll a little bit forward regarding that. A big part of the puzzle was we had an advisor that was helping us with the project, and he suggested that we find a local engineer, and that was actually quite a challenge for us to find somebody that had the qualifications locally to go ahead and help us with the engineering of the project. So thankfully, we found a very good local engineer that's willing to help us and put his name on the lift, so to speak, and so we're really grateful for that. And with that, it looks like we can move forward with this, and we're just really excited to see the ski hill potentially reopen. So that said, guys, I appreciate the time tonight, and thank you.
Well, Darren, thanks very much for coming into council, and I think there's, I think you kicked the ball. Hopefully, again, it won't come back at you, but I think moving forward, if there's anything we can do, drop in and see Nadine kind of deal. In terms of partnering from the money perspective, that's probably a discussion that would have to come through committee, and we are into budget phase for next year, but that's not what you're looking for this year, sort of deal. So having that discussion with Nadine or staff may be a good starting point, and then with committee. But we've kind of said, our philosophy is that if we can develop that infrastructure along with other infrastructure that we have in town, it offers, it puts more on the plate to be able to get folks to come, stay, and things like that in town. So have you come in and talked to Nadine at all yet?
I have not talked to
Okay.
Nadine, no.
Well, okay, all right, so you have.
Yeah.
So that's what I would suggest you do. Go ahead, sir.
I was just going to tell you that it came up the other day, and actually it goes on quite a bit through the province. Active NL has a fund for infrastructure, and I'm just looking at the website, and it says funding available for initiatives, infrastructure, and equipment that increases physical participation in sport. Yep. Funding is available to develop infrastructure, equipment, and initiatives targeted at increasing physical activity. That's $10,000 right there that you can apply for. It's just go to the website, Active NL. But the deadline, the reason why I see it is because the deadline is October 31st. So you would have to go to the website, and there are people here in town I think that can help you. I know Linda Roberts, who's in charge of the program. Maybe if you contact her right away, that application can be forwarded, but that's $10,000 grant right there for infrastructure.
And from a community perspective, if we can, bolster that or help it or whatever, I'd encourage you to reach out to the MHA as well, and do it real quick, because Halloween, is coming quick, and that's the deadline, right? So, and if there's anything we can do, in terms of direct contribution, that's a discussion probably best to start with Nadine in terms of what our ability or what we would be able to do.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks, and listen, wish you guys all the luck, and hopefully we'll see people skiing down what used to be, I guess, Mount Shana and that kind of deal. So there's a lot of people around that still ski,
I'll come and
I was
test
just
it
gonna say.
out. I'll
That's why
only
I looked
go
that way.
if there's a promise
Yeah.
that you don't kick me down the hill
I-
at all, right?
As I get older, I get smarter, so downhill I'm not built for gravity, so.
Yeah.
All right, well, thanks very much for coming in.
Thanks.
All right. So, no other delegations, okay? We're good? Okay. All right, so we have 3 minutes, sets of minutes that we have to approve. I'll go back to the minutes from the 45th meeting, which was held on September 26th. So if I could, we've had them for a bit, entertain a motion to approve those as presented.
So moved.
Moved by Councillor Pomeroy, seconded by Councillor Rumbold. Any discussion on those minutes? Okay, oh, sorry, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I see in there on page 3 of the 45th minutes, item number 6. It says Community Service and Recreation, Deputy Mayor Ella Wallace. Then it says it was moved by Deputy Mayor Wallace to approve the Community Planning Development Committee report. Should that be the
Okay.
Community Service and Recreation
Yeah,
report?
it should, yeah. Thank you, good catch, sir. So can we note that, please? Any other discussion or errors or omissions? All right, all those in favor indicate with aye.
Aye.
All right, second one that we have to approve, set of minutes, is for the 46th meeting, held on October 3rd, 2023. Moved by,
Just a quick question. Is Councillor Compton Hobbs joining?
no,
today,
she's not,
or-
no.
She's not joining?
No.
Okay.
I said that a few minutes ago.
Well, I must have been reading this.
Yeah, no, she asked me to send regrets, and I said that at the beginning of the, at the meeting. Yeah. Okay, so mover for the adoption of the 46 minutes. Okay, moved by Deputy Mayor Wallace, seconder, Councillor Broomfield. Discussion? Okay, all those in favor indicate with aye.
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 Contrary minded? We've accepted those minutes. And our last meeting, the 47th meeting, on October 4th, 2023. Motion to accept the minutes as presented. Moved by Councillor Rumbold, seconded by Deputy Mayor Wallace. Discussion? None? Okay, all those in favor indicate with aye.
Aye.
Aye. Contrary minded? Passed. All right, so next on our agenda is correspondence, and we just have our usual municipal assessment agency information, where we were told that Minister Hagee has appointed long-term resident, Grand Falls, Windsor resident, Mr. Alan Hawkins as the newest taxpayer representative on the municipal assessment agency. So that's the only thing I have in terms of correspondence. Anything else from correspondence to either one of the management folks? No? Okay. All right, so let's go into our reports. We'll go into community planning and development. Pass the floor over to Councillor Pomeroy.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Community Planning and Development Committee met on Wednesday, October the 18th at 4:45 p.m. Present were myself as acting chair, Councillor Denise Rumbold, Engineer Randy Dillon, Municipal Tech Mark Urquhart, GIS Tech Mark McCreedis, and Executive Assistant Kathy Eddy, who took the minutes. Regrets from the Chair, Councillor Compton Hobbs, and Chief Administrative Officer Nadine McCauley. Meeting was called to order at 4:46 p.m. Committee approved the agenda with 3 items for other business. There were no presentations or delegations. The minutes and action items were reviewed, and there were no errors or omissions found. Committee discussed monthly permit updates and noted that permits issued over the last period exceeded $15 million in construction costs. Committee reviewed 4 new Crown land applications and agreed to provide no objection to all. I'll bring forward recommendations on each of those for Council's consideration soon. We also reviewed a briefing note and maps regarding potential confusion over Juniper Street, which currently goes from Lake Crescent and curves into a cul-de-sac. With current street designations extending outside and beyond the cul-de-sac and future development, we basically would have an unnamed street. Committee suggested splitting Juniper to cover future development. However, this may cause some concern and confusion. And the committee discussed several options and agreed to contact the 2 households that would be immediately impacted and proposed to rename the cul-de-sac Juniper Place. Staff will prepare and send a letter to 2 affected households and bring back responses to the November meeting. We received a letter from Crown Lands advising that it has approved a Crown Lands application from Keith Russell for 83B.
So I'm just going to enter a point of order here, and if you're going to just pass the chair over to the deputy, because I've declared conflict in that previous item, and if we're going to vote to accept the report as presented, and I will be voting. So I'll pass the chair over to the deputy and declared conflict on that issue in the previous meeting.
Okay, continue, Councillor Pomeroy.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. We received a letter from Crown Lands advising that it had approved a Crown Lands application from Keith Russell for 83B Hamilton River Road. Town objected to this application earlier this year. In the list of referral conditions attached to the approval letter, there is no mention of the town having any objection. Committee asked that the engineer contact Crown Lands, asking why the town's comments were not considered as one of the main referral agents. Municipal Tech advised that there are currently 28 items in the town's development regulations that need to be corrected. Some are simple typos, some are enabling, and some are not. He will continue to review the regulations with the goal of fixing all the errors for our next meeting. The Nature Conservancy of Canada is looking at 2 areas within the municipal boundary that almost meets all the criteria to be protected wetlands. One gray area is the old firing range. I believe the location is down somewhere down around the landfill area. Is that where the firing range?
Firing range, yes, is up in the Goose,
Okay,
that
that area.
that area up there with the
Okay. So it's no longer being used and has been reverted back to Crown Lands. The other area is a section of land that is owned by the Department of National Defense. However, zoning is not listed as being owned by D&D. Therefore, the area will need to be rezoned before it can move forward with protection. There being no further business, the meeting adjourned at 6:15 p.m. Next meeting is scheduled for Monday, November 20th at 4:45 p.m. With that, I move that the Community Development and Planning Report for October be accepted as read.
Thank you, Councillor Pomeroy, for your report. Can we invite him back in? We can't accept the report. Pardon? Can we have a seconder for the report? Councillor Rumbold. Any discussion? With no discussion, we'll accept the report. All those in favor indicate with aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those against? Ayes have it. Report's accepted. We'll have the mayor return to join us.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. All right, so we'll go, next item on our agenda is Community Services and Recreation.
Recommendations?
Pardon me?
Recommendations from
Oh,
Councillor Pomeroy?
yes, indeed. Okay, yep, recommendations. Recommendations from Community and Planning. Floor is yours again, sir.
Thank you. I'm just trying to find my, here we go. Yes, we have 4 recommendations, Your Worship. First recommendation, Crown Lands application 161667, Gregory Finley. This is in the area that I mentioned regarding Juniper Street, the area extending Juniper Street. The CBD committee recommends council provide no objection to Crown Lands application 161667 on the condition that future development complies with the town's development regulations.
Okay, it's been moved by Councillor Pomeroy that we have no objection. Council have no objection to application number 161667. Seconded by Councillor Rumbold. Discussion? I just have one question. In the, I understand the application because I think this may have come to council in previous times. What about, so if we approve the land, no question, but was there any thought or discussion in terms of development permits about, for instance, the paving of that particular, would that be part of the permit? Like that they would be responsible for the extension of water and sewer and paving Because
Well,
it really is, there's nothing else ever gonna go on that particular street because it goes into the airport.
Not that we know, but,
Well, no,
At this
just
point,
physically, geographically wise, it would
it's
be
a Crown
possible.
land application.
Yep.
Right? As for when it comes to development, I guess
Yep.
we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't want to, that comment, or probably better to direct a question
And
to.
just a bit of background, this land was previously approved to other individuals. They didn't follow through on their on their application or acquired from Crown Lands. And went back to the Crown and we had another applicant.
Yeah, no, I don't have an issue that way, it's just that, you know, the cost to, I guess, for the proponent to get the land and that kinds of deal, has there been any conversation in terms of what a development permit, because I would assume they're looking at housing up there, but I mean, the cost of paving that road or the extension of that road, the water and sewer and that kinds of stuff, was there any discussion, Randy, with, or Mr. Dillon, with, on those topics?
Yeah, no, Mayor, we haven't went that far with the proponent.
Okay.
So basically, at this stage, is you know, we're just looking at the Crown Lands, and it'd be up to him to contact the town as to what potential development requirements would be required, you know, for, you know, if he wants to proceed further with a certain type
Okay,
of development.
I would assume, town engineer, Mayor, if I may, that any development in terms of infrastructure would have to be done through an agreement with the town anyway.
Oh, yeah, no, it's just
That's
that
right.
the cost that it's going to be for the proponent to get that land.
The proponent would pay for all.
Yeah,
costs of
I understand
development.
that, but knowing full well what potentially could come in a development permit as a condition would be, you know, potentially important for him or her to understand before, you know, before they do that way. And that, you know, may be the reason the other group didn't, I don't know. Mr. Isle?
Yeah, that's correct, Mayor. If the developer wants to come in and discuss what his potential development is, we'd certainly aid him as to what types of requirements would be required under the development regulations. And, you know, then he can judge accordingly as to what his cost would be
Yeah.
for that proposed
Yeah,
development. that he's
and I
looking
think that would be proactive on our part in terms of, you know, offering that opportunity. If, you know, whoever chooses to, yea or nay, well, then that's fine, but at least, you know, they don't go into something thinking that everything is fine and there may be potential obstacle. You know, like the cost of paving for that would be substantial, I would assume, right? And, yeah, okay. Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor, did someone have, were you appointing?
Well, I was
Oh,
gonna ask,
sorry,
but no,
Councilman.
you covered it off in your questions.
Okay,
Really.
sorry. I'll look over more of just what the screen was, I apologize. Okay, any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor indicate with aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Move passed. Next recommendation, sir?
Second recommendation, again from the same individual, Crown Lands application 161668, same location, adjacent to the property that we just had no objection to. CPD committee recommends council provide no objection to Crown Lands application 161668 on the condition that future development complies with the town's development regulations.
Okay, good. Moved by Councillor Pomeroy that council have no objection to Crown Lands application 161668. Seconded by Deputy Mayor Wallace. Discussion?
Yeah, I will ask a question on this one, I guess, because the first one and this one are basically related, really. They're in the exact same location. My question, I don't know if you asked it or not, I was trying to hear it, but is there a water and sewer line running up to these two properties, or do the town have to pay for it, or is he paying for it?
Yeah, there's no services to these properties at the moment, and as the town engineer just indicated, there would have to be a discussion with the town before any infrastructure would be put in that area.
No,
And-
when you're saying discussion, when you're gonna put it in writing and tell them that they're responsible to put it in?
Well, that would normally be the case in any development agreement.
Yeah. So he would, and that's kind of what I said, because I mean, if council, you know, has a discussion about the permit, and after the fact, you know, the proponent spend a lot of money, whether it be surveys or legal fees to get where he needs to be to obtain the land from Crown Lands, and then comes to council, and there's, you know, conditions put on, whatever they may be, then, you know, it may be a situation where, you know, they didn't have all the facts, like, or all the information potentially, right? So yeah, I would encourage, can we reach back out to him and, you know, because I think it just will be proactive in terms of, you know, putting off a confusion or an issue later on down the line.
No, certainly, Mayor.
Okay. Yeah, so like I say, from that perspective, whether water, sewer, pavement,
Yeah.
whatever, that would have to come under the development agreement or
Have to be
permit.
a
right?
development
Yep.
agreement of some
Yep.
sort in place,
Yep.
if he were to develop.
And if, you know, whatever conditions they might be or could be, if that information is on his table or her table, you know, and they make a decision then based on whatever their business model's gonna be to proceed, or it's just too expensive, or it doesn't make sense, or whatever. So. All right, any further discussion? All right, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate with aye.
Aye.
Aye, contrary minded, passed. You have another two, sir? Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Crown Lands application 161729, Rebecca Jackson Inkpen. CPD committee recommends council provide no objection to Crown Lands application 161729 on the condition that future development complies with the town's development regulations. And just before, that's located on Northwest River Road.
Okay. All right, so it's moved by Councillor Pomeroy and CPD committee that we have no objection, council have no objection to Crown's Land application 161729. Seconded by Councillor Rumble. Discussion? Okay, none heard. All those in favor indicate with aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded? Passed. Go ahead, sir, floor is yours.
Crown Lands application 7113683, Jack Courage 44980 Newfoundland Inc. The CPD committee recommends council provide no objection to Crown Lands application 7113683 on the condition that future development complies with the town's development regulations. Again, this is for a quarry, your worship.
Thank you, and that's what I was just going to mention. All right, it's moved by Councillor Pomeroy through CPD committee, seconded by Deputy Mayor Wallace. Any discussion?
Just to add that the quarry would be located between the landfill road and the Northwest River.
Yeah.
Northwest River.
So where they are all just about located now.
That's
Yes,
where
sir.
the old sawmill used to be, then you're talking about, right?
It would be
Next to it.
beyond that, but roughly in the same area.
But where is there any crushed stone in that area?
What's that?
Like, he's building a quarry, that's what he's asking for, right?
Yeah.
Peat
Yeah, it's for
quarry,
base for
peat
peat,
moss.
for
Yeah, that's
Oh, okay.
topsoil, yeah.
for
Okay.
gardening and.
All right, and it's down by where, I guess, it's going to the dump road where that
Kind of in
environmental,
between.
where that environmental site is?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, okay, any other discussion? And I see it's for only 1 year anyway, so we'll see. That's, you know, their process there. Okay, all those in favor indicate with aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Passed. And that's it for you, is it, sir?
Yes, sir, thank you.
All right. So moving along the agenda now, I will go to Community Services and Recreation.
Thank you, Mayor. The Community Services and Recreation Committee met on Monday, October the 16th, and the meeting was called to order at 12:12 p.m. Present were myself as chair, Deputy Mayor Ella Wallace, Councillor Hayward Broomfield, CAO Nadine McCauley, CDR Manager Greg Osmond, CSR Director Travis Ford, and EA Kathy Eddy. The minutes of the previous meeting were reviewed and no errors or omissions were detected. Action items were also reviewed and discussed, and updates were noted. Under new business, the town was approached by the Ministerial Association for the use of the arena parking lot for the annual Trunk and Treat, and this area will be utilized from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. for what should be another successful event. Previous to this, the event had been held at 2 separate locations in town, so this will result in the amalgamation from the Ministerial Association to one central location. Councillor Broomfield asked to have an update on the curling club added to our November meeting agenda. And in other business, an update was provided to the McLean Street Playground Committee on the remaining funds in the fundraising account, and they will be ordering a sign which will be installed at the playground. This should deplete the remaining funds in their fundraising account. Deputy Mayor Wallace asked for an update on the adult playground equipment, which was due to be installed at Kinsman Park. Committee learned that the equipment had already been installed, but unfortunately a public notice had been overlooked. Deputy Mayor Wallace asked for a public service announcement to be issued so that residents would be aware of this wonderful addition. The Community Development Manager advised he would take photos and prepare a public announcement. Deputy Mayor Wallace also asked for an update on user agreements for the upcoming season at the E.J. Broomfield Memorial Arena. The CSR Director advised that agreements would be sent out to all user groups this week and that in-person meetings were not necessary, as all user groups had advised that they had no concerns they wished to have addressed. The Chair inquired about the arena deficiencies, including the sound system, heating system, and water pooling on the ice surface. It was decided that the CSR Director will reach out to the Director of Engineering to discuss possible resolutions to these and other ongoing issues. Committee asked for more details on the delay in the ice surface being ready to start the fall season, and we were advised by the Director that the issue, namely a failed crank, was unexpected and out of anyone's control, but was the result of normal wear and tear. There were no recommendations to be brought forward to the next council meeting, and the meeting was adjourned at 1:05 p.m. The next meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, November the 14th at 4:30 p.m. I would like to motion my report to be accepted as presented.
Okay, moved by Councillor Rumbold and the Community Service and Recreation Committee that we accept the report as she has presented. Seconded by Deputy Mayor Wallace. Discussion? Okay, all those in favor indicate with aye.
Aye.
Aye. Contrary-minded? Passed. All right, so we move on to finance and min and policy. And I just, before I do that, you may notice some different voices. Council, we changed our committee, not structure, well, structure in a minor way, but we changed the chairs around. This is the third year, or twice, I guess, that we've done this, and it's just to allow all of councillors to just gain additional information and capacity build, I guess, within the group in terms of at the end of the 4 years, the intent is everybody would have the chance to, an opportunity to sat on all of the committees of council. And as well, we've made an adjustment to a couple of the committees, but I will save that for the committee chair to bring forward. All right, so Finance and Min and Policy.
Thank you, Mayor. Finance Administration and Policy Committee met on October 17th at 4:45 p.m. President were myself as chair, Councillor Hayward Broomfield, Councillor Todd Winters, CAO Nadeem Akali, DFO Mike Dollamount, Executive Assistant Kathy Eddy, and Community Development Manager Greg Osmond. Regrets from Kelsey Campagna. The meeting began with call to order at 4:48 p.m. The agenda was approved without any additions. There were no delegations present. Previous minutes and action items were reviewed and no errors or omissions were found. Under new business, the committee discussed a request from the Happy Valley Goose Bay Recyclers. That request will come forward in by way of a motion shortly. Just a little bit on the recyclers. The group is providing a great service, playing a role in keeping recyclables out of the landfill. And it was suggested that the town may be able to offer additional space, perhaps at the CF Arena, and accommodate the group's growth over that would accommodate the growth that the group's been seeing over the last couple of years. It was also suggested we may look at providing an annual grant to help with costs associated with shipping recyclables out of the area. And we agree that this requires further discussion during a budgetary process. Under other business, information was attached regarding monies owed to Equinix, our previous digital infrastructure service provider. CAO advised that the town moved from Equinix to SharePoint last year. Ample notice of the discontinuation of services was provided. Equinix feels, however, that the town should continue to pay them until the end of this fiscal year. CAO responded to the company's lawyer asking for clarification of the amount they are requesting from the town and explained the termination of the services. CAO will provide information as it arises. A draft policy with respect to time off in lieu or toil for non-unionized employees was reviewed and discussed. The concept of the policy is to provide ample rest and rejuvenation time for all non-unionized employees by abolishing the toil practice and extending annual leave entitlements. There is much discussion and mixed opinions on the proposed policy, as some unionized employees are required to work significant hours beyond their regular workday for various reasons, while others are not. It was also noted that each position is different and should be considered on an individual basis. While the concept of a work-life balance is favorable, however, it was felt a policy should also be fair and equitable for all. Committee agreed further discussion is necessary before such a policy is put in place. The next meeting is tentatively scheduled for Tuesday, November 21st at 4:45 p.m. Meeting adjourned at 6:02 p.m. With that, I move that Council accept the Finance Administration Policy Committee report as read.
All right, thank you, Councillor Pomeroy. It's moved by Councillor Palmer that we accept the Finance and Admin Policy Committee report as presented. Seconded by? Seconded by Councillor Brumfield. Any discussion? Okay. No discussion? Okay, so the, just my own thing, the toil or time off in lieu is a work in progress.
It is.
And is it planned to come back to the next committee, or?
Yeah,
Okay.
we're going to have further discussion.
Okay, thank you. Okay, all those in favor indicate with aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion's passed.
It's cold in here.
It is cold in here.
It's cold in here.
When we came in here, though, it was a little warmer than it is now. Okay, and I will now move along on the agenda and pass the floor over to
We
Oh.
have a
recommendation.
couple of recommendations, Your Worship.
All right, sorry, sir. I gotta flip back and forth between pages this evening, so I apologize. Okay, Finance Admin, floor is yours again for recommendations.
Thank you. Request for donation, liability insurance for the Happy Valley Goose Bay Recyclers. The FAP Committee recommends Council approve the request to pay liability insurance for the Happy Valley Goose Bay Recyclers for the year in the amount of $887.80.
Okay, it's moved by Councillor Pomeroy and FAP Committee that we paid liability insurance for the Goose Bay, Happy Valley Goose Bay Recyclers for, in the amount of $887.80. Seconder? Councillor Winters, discussion? Deputy Mayor? Yeah.
Didn't want you to
Two,
miss me.
no, there was two of yous going in. I caught it right.
Your hand up too.
Yeah, two of them. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Probably scared
No,
you.
no, go ahead.
Just with the recyclers, are they a not-for-profit group?
Yes, they're a volunteer group.
Yeah.
Fully
I don't know if are they structured as a not-for-profit, like is there yeah, I guess it not incorporated, well, I guess
No,
incorporation.
I don't know if they're incorporated, it's just
Just-
a bunch of volunteers that
yeah.
are working to keep stuff at the landfill.
We really
And
haven't
we've
done
paid
this.
the, just to add, we've covered liability insurance in the past.
Yeah, we did last year, I know.
Oh, yes, I know this has been ongoing for them for sure. I just,
So maybe as further discussion in budget, that, you know, we may look at different opportunities that
Yeah.
way as well, so.
I'll have more information afterwards, I'll do with Council.
Sure, yeah, no problem. Any further discussion? Did you put your hand up, sir?
Well, I did, but no, it was a mistake, but I can make comments.
She frightened you? He was backing off. Yeah, contact meetings.
Yeah.
All right, so you're good?
Yeah.
Okay. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor indicate with aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded? All right, motion passed. Next one, sir?
Bank signing authority. The Finance Administration and Policy Committee recommends that pursuant to Section 76 of the Municipalities Act 1999, Town Council of the Town of Happy Valley Goose Bay shall remove Denise Rumbold as a signing officer for the Town of Happy Valley Goose Bay and shall designate the following as signing officers: George Andrews, Mayor; Ella Wallace, Deputy Mayor; Bert Pomeroy, Councillor; Nadine McCauley, Chief Administrative Officer; Mike Dolman, Director of Financial Operations.
Okay, moved by Councillor Pomeroy and FAP that we adjust our signing authorities as it were presented, seconded by? Councillor Rumbold's hands up there right away. Okay, seconded by Councillor Rumbold. Discussion? Can we just also have, to add it to the motion if it's good, can we just say that Councillor Pomeroy is the Chair of Finance and Admin, 'cause I think that's what it's supposed to be, isn't it?
the chair.
Pardon me? Yeah, I know, but in the actual motion, right? I think, isn't it part of the act that it's the mayor, deputy mayor, chair of finance? No?
No, it's just named, really.
Okay, all right. No, I thought that's what our practice,
Yeah.
yeah. Refer to the position. Okay, all right. Okay. For any further discussion? No, we already, no, we didn't, yes, already. Okay, all those in favor indicate with aye.
Aye.
Aye. Councillor minded? Councillor Rumble's happy.
My hand won't get.
Very, very happy. That's it for you, sir?
Thank you.
Okay, now I'll pass the chair to our newly consolidated Municipal and Protective Services Committee, to the Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Municipal and Protective Services Committee held its monthly meeting on Tuesday, October 16th at 4:30 p.m. Present as chair, myself, Deputy Mayor Ella Wallace, Councillor Compton Hobbs via telephone, Councillor Todd Winters, CAO Nadeem McCauley, Director of Engineering Randy Dillon, Director of Protective Services Brad Butler, Superintendent Water and Sewer Keith Pye, Superintendent Public Works Randy Chambers, Executive Assistant Kathy Eddy. Meeting was called to order at 4:34 p.m. Review of minutes revealed no errors or omissions. The committee will reveal the terms of reference for municipal services and protective services and make the necessary changes to bring back to November's meeting, along with any recommendations. Action items including requesting regular scheduled monthly meetings with the RCMP to provide updates to the committee. Other business discussion was regarding the current Garda contract. The current contract would end on October 31st, 2003. All councillors felt it necessary to discuss further, and as a result, all of council met last evening on October 23rd, as it was unanimously agreed to possibly extend the current contract. Further security measures will be discussed during upcoming budget items. Public Works Manager's Report was reviewed, crews performing regular seasonal duties, vehicle fleet preparation ongoing for winter season on both light and heavy duty fleet. Depot maintenance is ongoing, tipping fees at $125,885.50 as of October 7th, the first week into October, up $33,000 this month. Alders and Willows cleanup is ongoing, working in all areas. Park and Lower Valley is planned to meet up in the middle of town, and the bike trail has been cut back. Catch basin and culvert cleanup has started, and all will be remarked. It was noted that the dozer at the landfill requires significant and extensive repairs, and a replacement cost will have to be considered for replacement and discussed during budget discussions. Paving of road cuts has started on Monday, October 23rd, just yesterday. Water and Sewer Manager's Report was reviewed. Sewers, all lifting stations are operating. The water treatment plant, all wells are operating. And general maintenance and normal operations are reported. Mechanical upgrades are planned for 2023 and currently working with Englobe to provide information to get the project out for tender. Plans are in the works for upgrades and replacement of 14 hydrants. Pump 1 suffered a failure and a new pump was installed. There have been numerous service calls, curbs raised and located, repaired, and replaced. Building maintenance to paint at D19, siding upgrades to several lift stations and fire hall upgrades, and also noise barrier to the water works treatment plant. Moving on to the engineering report. As Mayor discussed earlier, this obviously because it's combined, this committee, Municipal and Protective Services Committees, there's I think 4 managers' reports in here and a couple others as well to note. So we've got the engineering report from Engineer Randy Dillon. D42 upgrades with approval for upgrades in the amount of $1.6 million, $1,673,250 to be exact. A meeting is being held with the engineering consultant and the design has started. Lawrence O'Brien pump upgrades. Approval has been received from the Department of Transportation and Infrastructure to include this project to the 2022-2023 multi-year capital works program. Hydrogeological and surface draining study. A request for proposals has been submitted to the Department of Transportation for approval to advertise. The contract's been awarded to CBCL. All wells and sensors have been installed and data is being collected. Preliminary report has been submitted and forwarded to Council. A draft report is in the process of being finalized. Snow guard installation process is being commenced and tender call to be authorized very soon. We've got 2 applications, being submitted to the National Infrastructure Fund. Unfortunately, the application for drain improvements for Court Real to Birch Island was declined, and we are currently waiting for status on the federal government of the remaining application, and that is the bank stabilization of the canal from Mitchell Pottle area to eastern of Court Real. Investing in Canada Infrastructure Program, we have 4 applications being made to the province: road intersection upgrades, storm drainage improvements, Loring Drive and Grenfell Street upgrades, and Court Real upgrades. Approval has been received for the road intersection upgrades. An RFP has been issued for engineering work, and a contract has been issued to Harborside Engineering. A kickoff meeting was held in the latter part of July, and design is underway. Special assistance grant for the Riverbank Stabilization Project. Project drawings have been submitted, reviewed, and approved. Tender documents expected to be submitted very soon. Moving to the Municipal Enforcement Monthly Report. The Municipal Enforcement Team responded to 11 occurrences, including cleanup properties, abandoned vehicles, illegal parking, ATV bike enforcement, and removal orders. The MEOs started to enforce Highway Traffic Act, and issuing 23 tickets and 25 warnings. MEOs participated in the bike rodeo with the RCMP at the arena, picked up bikes from the LCC for the new bike repair program that the town partners with, and they partner with the RCMP and the Labrador Correction Center. The program will start in 2024 with a new addition to the LCC is complete. September 15th, MEOs provided traffic control to the Take Back the Night. September 23rd, it was Happy Valley Day, the 80th celebrations, and provided security on the grounds at Kinsman Park. And September 30th provided traffic control at the Truth and Reconciliation Walk. So no doubt the MEOs are out there throughout the community, which is great. Protective Services report was reviewed. There were 20 calls to assistance responded by the fire department. So far in 2023, there have been 100 calls, emergency calls total. So no doubt October was a busy month. All fire apparatus are fully serviceable. 8 new sets of bunker gear to be delivered, approximate delivery date to be December 2023. A new thermal imaging camera is on order with grants graciously received by the IGA. RCMP policing report is in the package for review, but it was revealed a total of, the detachment responded to a total of 600 occurrences with a total of 143 incarcerations in October. The next meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, November 15th at 4:30 p.m. The meeting was adjourned at 5:29. Please accept this.
Go ahead.
Thanks. Please accept this as having my report being read.
Okay, thank you, Deputy Mayor. So it's moved by Deputy Mayor Wallace that we accept Municipal and Protective Services Committee report as presented. I guess the first Municipal and Protective Services Committee presented as read. Seconded by Councillor Winters. Discussion. Okay.
Just
yes.
just a couple of questions, Deputy Mayor. With respect to the upgrades or the work that's been done to fix the cuts in the roads, maybe a question to the engineer. Is there any work being done to fix some of the shoulders?
So before we go there, can we just deal with the report and then we'll go into your question? Because it's not about the report, right? And the motion on the floor.
She mentioned about the roads.
Yeah, but we're accepting her report and then we can go into the questions then.
Okay, so no discussion.
Oh yeah, be discussion, but not in terms of asking questions. If it's a discussion about the contents of the report, no question.
Yeah, it is a question about the contents of the
Okay,
report.
but you asked to go to the engineer.
Okay, so I can ask the Deputy Mayor. So in terms of the work that's being done, I was under contract to fix the roads. Is some of the work being done to fix the sides of the roads as well? And
Not
just
that
the
I'm
road
aware of,
cuts?
Councillor Pomeroy. It was only the cuts and the fills of the actual concrete that was cut out. I don't know
Right.
myself from that.
So what you're doing is trying to ask, what we're trying to do is accept the report as presented, then we can ask the questions that will come outside the report.
And then I can ask the question.
Absolutely, no question. Yep. Okay. All those in favor indicate with aye.
Aye.
Contrary-minded? Now, absolutely.
Okay, I'll ask if I can ask the town engineer.
We can ask the question to Mr.
In
Jones.
terms of, there are some areas of town where the road cuts have been repaired, but there are some areas where the shoulders are in rough shape. Is there any intention of trying to fix that up this year?
Yes, Councillor. The way the cuts work is that the paving contractor only does the actual paving. The town does the prep work, so we install the Class A and so on. So now that the paving, the cuts have been paved, we'll go back and we'll do a final cleanup on the shoulders and make sure everything is done before winter.
Okay, thanks. And the other question, I know we adopted the report, so it's
Report's
related to
adopted,
it.
now everything's free to go.
Okay, so, the, riverbank stabilization project. You indicated that a tender will be going out soon, is that correct?
Yep, drawings were submitted.
Can you give us just an update or a rundown of what that work will entail?
So,
I'll forward that
yeah,
through to
we'll put that to Mr. Dillon.
Director of Engineering.
Yes, Councillor, we receive funding from the province, special assistance grants to get, to get the investigation done and tender documents prepared for that scope of work. So this phase will give us the tender documents, the design and tender documents, and a pre-tender cost estimate. So the next phase for the town would be to make application under an appropriate program. Now that we don't actually have the tender documents yet, but I'm expecting them any day now. So we'll have the design completed, and we'll have a pre-tender estimate that we can accurately make or quote for in a application.
And that would give us an idea of how much money is involved here. We have no idea
So-
what the cost will be yet.
I don't have the estimate yet, so.
Is it would it be a Class A estimate?
That'll
or-
be a Class A estimate.
Okay, so yeah, that should give us a
Okay.
good idea then. And then it's up to us to come up with the money, whether it be through partnership funding or multi-year capital works or from our own budget.
All right,
Okay,
thank you.
is that good on that?
Yep.
Okay,
Thank you.
let's
Do
move
have
in.
one.
Pardon me?
I
You
do-
have
sorry,
one,
I do
yeah,
have one
you do have one
recommendation.
recommendation, yeah. Okay, floor back to you for your recommendation.
Thank you. Do have the Municipal and Protective Services Committee have a contract award. The Municipal and Protective Services Committee recommends that a contract in the amount of $676,294.71 for the supply of a 2024 John Deere 850L WH dozer be awarded to Brandt, subject to funding availability and approval from the Department of Municipal and Provincial Affairs.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Wallace that we issue a contract award to Brandt in the amount of $676,294.71 for the purchase or supply, of a 2024 John Deere 850L. Seconded by Councillor Rumbold. Discussion. I was looking at you, sir.
Okay, Deputy Mayor, I presume this is the dozer for the dump, correct?
It is, thank you.
Okay. Was there any other tenders or proposals received, or public tenders gone out?
To my knowledge, I have to pass it over to CAO for information on the actual tenders for this.
Probably
Or
the
to
engineer.
Randy.
Excuse me, yes, Councillor. This went through the canoe procurement process. So we actually don't have to go to tender with the canoe procurement process. That is sanctioned by the Public Procurement Agency, where we can actually go through canoe and we can specify what our requirements are for that particular piece of equipment, and they would recommend a supplier, and they would have the cost, they would negotiate the cost on our behalf. So it's all in line with the Public Procurement Agency.
But do we know how much, like, a loader from Cat would cost, for example, or a dozer? Like, do we do our shopping around as well? Because
So-
this 600
Yeah.
and,
My understanding with the canoe process is that they handle all of that.
They do.
They handle the whole, like the tendering, the documentation, and they come back to us with that information. And there's a lot of municipalities throughout, not only here, but throughout the country that are using it. Councillor Rumble.
I can't speak to the canoe process, but just as a former member of the Municipal Services Committee, I know that our superintendent, Randy Chambers, himself and his mechanic staff, and I'm looking at Councillor Winters because I know he was part of this, they had said that they knew this was going to be inevitable. Like the dozer was on its way out, so they started doing, can we fix it? How can we find the parts? But then they started doing some legwork just to see. So he had previously given us, a heads up or a warning that they had shopped around. I know it went to canoe, but they were just kind of doing some exploration. And I was actually surprised that this number wasn't higher myself, because they even looked at, could they get something through auction, could they get something secondhand, and I think they did their homework even prior to it going out to Canoe.
Can we provide the
Deputy Mayor
breakdown,
Wallace.
can we provide the breakdown, Randy, as far as the canoe amount and
That would
Well-
are
be
you
it.
okay to do that?
We only make the contact to
Yeah.
Canoe,
Okay.
and then they come back with the price.
We,
So
we,
they-
we provide our requirements to them, and they do everything, they do the behind-the-scenes work and come back to us with a,
Yeah, no, we
With
have
a-
amount.
with an award, like a recommendation for award. Councillor,
Was this approved in our budget last year?
so this was gonna be my question. So it says subject to, funding availability. Where is
Yes,
the
Councillor,
availability?
there was $500,000 approved in the budget. We are short $178,000, but we do have a line of credit with our bank that we can pick up the balance there. But first of all, before we actually get that loan with the bank, we have to get approval from the Department of Municipal and Provincial Affairs.
Those were the numbers I was referring to.
Those were the
Gotcha.
numbers, yeah, we have 500, so we have to get that additional funding, we have to get those approvals before we can actually award the contract. This award is conditional upon getting those additional funds.
Yeah, but if I remember correctly, the bank refused us the loan the last time we tried to get one because we were so late behind on our others and we're still not caught up.
But I think there's more flexibility now because there is considerable work done in that file. And, well, I mean, at the end of the day, if that doesn't happen, then it doesn't happen. There's no availability, right? So the shortfall of the 178K is coming from, would be borrowed funds
Well, that's the intention,
Okay.
Mayor, is to get that from our line of credit.
from within, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just to reiterate, with regards to that piece of equipment, it is needed. If we don't get it, we don't have it, and then we have no dozer down there, because the one down there is not repairable.
I think it's well outlived its usefulness.
Yeah, I was gonna ask a couple of questions, but I was gonna wait until after we get to the discussion.
No, this is discussion. It's not a
Because there were
report.
some questions that were asked that weren't in the
But it's a
report.
Have
discussion
we
about the
accepted the
motion.
recommendation?
It's about the motion, right? So you want information about that motion? Now it's perfect.
Yeah, no, I
But
got
if
the
you refer
information.
back to what you were talking about, what we were doing was trying to accept a report that was already done,
Okay.
right? So, did you want to ask your questions?
No,
Okay.
they're already answered.
All right. Okay, any other discussion? Okay, so my question is, what happens if we don't get this? What's the ramification of not getting?
Well, I
Or
guess the
approving.
next step would be, if we don't get approval from municipal affairs or something to that effect, I guess something that we'll have to consider in the budget process to pick up the additional 178.
Yeah, no, my question was more, what's the impact of not getting this particular piece of equipment?
Oh, if we don't get this well, the impact is that if we're at the mercy of the existing piece of equipment breaking down, and it could cost, as Councillor Winters noted, it could cost considerable amount of money
Yeah.
for repairs.
All right. So
So-
critical piece of gear.
It's a critical piece, and it could be a very expensive repair if we don't get this purchased.
Any other discussion?
Is there any trade-in on the old one?
Leave it down there.
Yeah, we gotta do
Well,
something.
Oh, yeah. Didn't that
It's a
also-
good
Stuff
question.
and let it
Yeah.
sit in the yard
Yeah.
for years.
No, it's a good question, and I know our superintendent is looking at a trade-in value for that piece of equipment. Now, it's not worth very much, it's not worth anything to us, but certainly if we can get rid of it and we can make, we can get some kind of a trade-in value for it, well, so much the better. But that's something we'll further discuss with Canoe.
Is there, the other side of it is there an option for us just to dispose of it through a tender process or something? If there's any residual value in if it's as bad as I think it is, I don't think we're gonna get a whole lot of money.
Yeah, well, it is an option, but it's it's in very poor condition. So
Okay.
that's something that,
All
I guess all the options are on the table, and we'll see what we can get as in the way, some kind of a trade-in with
Sure.
with Bryant.
Last one, go ahead, Jeff.
Is this dozer still required if we did decide to modernize the tip?
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yes,
just of this size, whether we decide to stay as status quo with what we do have, or whether we decide to change our formatting of the tip. You know what I mean? We'll need this dozer either way, right?
we need this dozer either way, yes. We
Yeah.
can't we need a dozer
Yeah.
for the landfill.
Moving
This
the
is the
stuff down.
proper size and so on.
All right, any other discussion to add? Okay, all those in favor indicate with aye.
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 Contrary-minded? Passed. So, will, council be informed what the details are from both financial institution and the province?
Yeah, that's correct, Mayor. As we move forward, we get a response from the province, and once we make the actual award, council will be apprised
Sure.
accordingly.
Okay,
Thank
good.
you.
All right, so moving along, approval of checks. I was gonna go to Councillor Rumbold, but I'm not. I'm going across the floor to Councillor Pomeroy. Did you have it?
I got it here.
Okay.
I think so.
You?
To my right, over
There
here.
you go. Yep.
Right. The FAP committee recommends council approve the checks in the amount of $523,121.91.
Okay, it's moved by Councillor Pomeroy and FAP that we approve checks in the amount of $523,121.91. Seconded by? Okay, maybe we don't spend any money. Okay, Councillor Winters. Discussion? Councillor Brumfield?
What is you got a check there, check number 26845, Pictometry Canada Corp. for $52,283. What would be buying from them?
I think that's our service, our aerial work that Mark and Mark use for producing the maps and that kinds of stuff.
Is that like an annual one?
Is that every
Subscription
so
based,
many
is it?
years?
We get our aerial survey every couple of years.
So this is for one full year? Or
Yeah, actually, what was the amount again? I don't have it in front of me.
$52,283.
How much? 52,000, yeah, that would be for.
Is it the yearly subscription or is it based on so much per year, so many times?
Yeah,
Yes, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
was
And
it
that was
a few
probably the
months?
first time in about
In a
3 or
long
4
time,
years they've
yeah.
done that, right?
Yep.
Since before
Would
the
have been
pandemic.
a couple of years before that.
Yep.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I think.
So just to clarify, that's the pictures, that's the, I guess, the imagery that we use from a development perspective, our GIS guys and that, for producing maps and things along that line, so an accurate picture of the town. Basically Google Earth, for lack of a better word, but with more applications for us. Is that correct?
No, that's right, Mayor. And also, it gives a comparison from one year, from one flight, from one year to the next, or not to the next, to the subsequent one, as to what development occurred. So if there is any illegal development, we would be aware of that. And the municipal assessment agency would also be aware of that, so
Yep.
they can update the records and accordingly look at some kind of, tax issue for those people who may have constructed illegally or something.
And they are using that because some people that have talked to me about their assessments have gone up based on pictometry or Eagle, I guess. Did you use it?
Yeah, and just to add, I've had people come to me and say their taxes went up, and how did the town know they had a shed in their backyard? Right? Well, here we know, yeah, and this is how we know.
Yep, that's how.
You can run, you
okay.
can't hide.
So, it's moved and seconded. Discussion, any further discussion on the checks? Okay, all those in favor indicate with aye.
Aye.
Contrary-minded? Passed. All right, let's go into councillors' forum, and I'm going to start to my left with Councillor Winters.
Just one thing, Mayor. I had the pleasure of being at the opening of the fire department's training facility. And got to say that I got to say hats off to those guys on the way they do their process of fighting fires and training fires. And now they've upgraded their ability to classification of what fires they can be certified to fight. So I got to say hats off to the entire fire department, the fireettes, and local contractors for getting that place built. Fireettes, I believe it was $7,500 donation, and Hickey's Construction did all the welding. So, like I say, hats off to the fire department and those people involved.
Excellent, sir. Is it from you?
That's it.
Travel down the end of the table. Councillor Pomeroy.
Just a couple of things, Mayor. Mentioned earlier about the Happy Valley Goose Bay Recyclers. It's a volunteer group that's been growing since it was formed in 2017. The group's members drop off recycling typically on the last Saturday or Sunday of the month. According to a Facebook survey conducted last spring, about 50 households recycle with the group on a regular basis. I'm not sure how that breaks down in terms of percentages, but it's probably less than 5% or 3% of houses that are actually right? Probably even less than that. But the group believes that it's probably more because not everybody's on social media and people are dropping it off and new people are showing up on a regular basis. The group's efforts have been significant in reducing the amount of waste entering the landfill. The last load of recycling sent to Nora's Arm in July was close to 11,000 pounds, or roughly 5.5 tons. That's equivalent to a full tractor trailer load of 26 pallets, which includes compressed cardboards, plastics, mixed paper. The loads are then, they're sent, the 3 loads sent before that were a combined weight in excess of 10 tons or 20,000 pounds. Minimum $10 drop-off recycling donation is used to pay for shipping. Each truckload costs $2,300, tax included, to transport. And the group also has to pay processing fees at the Norris Arm recycling facility. They typically send out a load every 6 months. Just also other cans, tin cans, are sent to, are provided to Nuco. They load up pickup trucks full and bring loads down to Nuco, and they just provide that to them. They get nothing in return except saving our landfill. By supporting this group as a community, we can reduce our environmental footprint by diverting recyclable materials from the landfill. This will help preserve natural resources, reduce greenhouse gas emissions, as well as supporting this group will help build a stronger sense of community and promote environmental awareness and amongst residents. Again, I'd like to encourage all of council to save your recyclables. The information is all online. Go up and see exactly the work that's involved, dedicate a bunch of volunteers. I think they're doing a wonderful service to our community, and with the support of council, they can do much, much more. Also, talk about road improvements. I brought that up earlier. Realize that road improvements are not cheap, and finding funding's sometimes not very easy. I was curious in terms of our gas tax funds, whether or not as a town we've been holding on to some of our gas tax funds. I'm of the view that gas tax money should be used for local road improvements, and these taxes are paid by drivers who use the roads, so it makes sense that it be used for roads particularly. Also, I mean, the funds are a source of revenue for road improvements because they're not subject to fluctuations in the economy or changes in government priorities. So some money that comes on a regular basis. Over a 5-year period, I believe the amount the town will receive from 2019 to 2025 is in excess of about $2.7 million. So by holding on to those monies, I view that we can do some major paving projects every 4 or 5 years, and be able to upgrade roads as we need. Just a final thing. Of course, Halloween is coming up. It's a time for spooky fun and creative decorations and jack-o'-lanterns and spider webs, and there's so many ways to get into a Halloween spirit. However, it's important to remember that some decorations can be triggering for some people and who have experienced trauma or loss. And so if you're planning to decorate your home this Halloween, please be mindful of the impact your decorations might have on others. Consider opting for less graphic or violent decorations, and be sure to keep an eye out for anyone who might be struggling this time of year. It's supposed to be a good time, celebration, not fear or distress. So I wish hopefully Halloween runs fairly smoothly in our community, and watch out for the little ones on the street. I'll leave it at that. Thank you, Overseer.
Thank you, sir. Councillor Rumbold. I'll work my way up the other side.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of things from me. We recently finished, we have a lot of declarations, a lot of proclamations that we see here in council chambers, but we're just coming off of the heels of Fire Safety Week, and as Councillor Winters mentioned, the opening of the fire training facility. But further to that, I just wanted to say hats off to all the children that participated in the events that were in the schools. So we had a coloring contest. We had a fire chief for the day. I think she came up with a fabulous slogan, if you feel the heat, move your feet. And so I'm amazed. This is the second year in a row that I've been sitting here and thinking, man, these kids come up with some great stuff. So it's great to see the participation in the community, but I think it's important to note that just because it's not that week, don't let it slip from your mind. So fire safety should be in our minds all the time, as well as small business. So we just had Small Business Week, which was very successful in this community. We have a lot of small businesses small business in this community, they really, if you're seeing requests for donations, fundraisers, I mean, they get involved. The small businesses are the heart of our community. So we're very quickly approaching the holiday season. So before we know it, so I would encourage residents to make sure that you visit our small businesses, support our small businesses, and do our part to make them successful, because they give back to the community. We want to give to them as much as we can. So hats off to them and to the Chamber of Commerce for leading the activities to support Small Business Week. And like Councillor Pomeroy said, Halloween is coming up, so I think my focus there is just to remind everybody, safety, safety, safety. I live, as the mayor does, on a very busy neighborhood. We see hundreds of children, and we all see how dark it's getting very quickly now. So just to everybody to be mindful that when the day comes, to make sure that you slow down and be aware of what you may not be able to see children dart out in front of you. So I hope everybody has a safe fall and getting ready for winterizing, and as much as we hate to see it coming, we know it is ahead. So take the time to winterize. Oh, one other thing was water flushing. I have seen comments, I've seen people posting and asking the questions, and just to, again, bear in mind that this is seasonal activities, so if you're not already subscribed to Constant Contact, you can visit Facebook and go to the Town of Happy Valley Goose Base Facebook page, or you can visit our webpage and you will see the public notices that constantly remind our residents of traffic interruptions and water flushing activities. So just so that if you are aware, you can adjust make sure you don't wash your white clothes when we're flushing the lines. And that's it for me.
Thank you, ma'am. Councillor Brumfield.
Thank you, Your Worship. Okay, last month I was off. Regrets for last month. I was away for the full month, basically. What happened there is my 89-year-old mother fell down and broke her hip. So I spent basically 4 weeks in St. John's at St. Clair's Hospital. And you want to talk about an experience. The place is busy and crazy. I'm willing to bet you every single bed in this province is full. People waiting to get into St. John's for operations of some sort or another, or to see a specialist. And that's the sad state of our healthcare. Nothing against people who are working, they're overworked, I can tell you that. I've seen that firsthand. As their slogan says on one of the doors going into the main entrance of the building, be kind and respectful to our nurses, because they're the ones on the front lines treating everybody. And you give them dirt, well, that's it. You're asking for your own trouble on that one. On that issue, okay, that's one. I echo what Councillor Winters and Councillor Pomeroy said about Halloween coming up next week. Just remind everybody to be careful. Next holiday after that is going to be Remembrance Day on November the 11th, so that's usually we're involved in some way or another on that one. And my final thing is we're into fall/winter. I think it's time to get all the sports people registered for the winter sports that's coming up at the arena. And thank you.
Thank you, sir. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. Sending congrats to the Mealy Mountain Collegiate Senior Boys Soccer Team, who represented our region at provincials on the island. They didn't come back with a gold medal, but they sure did represent our region well, so congrats to them. Again, another set of those. We've got some talented kids there. Congratulations to 3 cross-country runners heading to provincials this weekend. We wish them all the best in Stephenville. The arena is open, as you mentioned, Councillor Broomfield, and we know they're excited skaters and hockey players hitting the ice this week, so we share their excitement and wish them a great season ahead.
Yes, and a collective sigh from parents who will spend many, many nights there. Thank you. You done?
Yeah, thank
Okay,
you.
great. Just a couple of things to note. I noticed that since we have our new MEOs, there was about 20 or so issues about properties that folks were concerned about, whether from a safety perspective or that, and half of those are closed. So now that they're the files are closed, I should say. So that's good work, and yes, we see them out around, and we see notes on Facebook about, you know, can the municipal enforcement officer give a ticket? And the answer is yes, they can ticket you, so please slow down. They don't ticket you for no reason. That kind of goes to segue that everybody's mentioned in terms of Halloween. Kids are out, just you know, make it as safe as we can, and I'm kind of glad to see the growth of the trunk and treat from, you know, the crowded Salvation Army parking lot over a number of years now to moving to the arena, so that's good. I wish Mr. Densmore came here tonight and his group every bit of success, and anything that we can do to help get you know, what was a gem in our town back to operating state and get folks involved outdoors. And I encourage them to look at the information that Councillor Winters has passed along. Paving is it completed or just about completed?
The paving contractor has pulled out of town. It was
Okay.
completed there, I think, yesterday or something like that.
Taking the money and run. He's done. Okay, well, that's good. There was some complaints that I filtered through staff about folks, about conditions of the road, especially down by the post office. And it is a responsibility of the paving contractor to keep the roads in passable condition while they're waiting for pavement to be installed. And I know we had some tremendous delay from the cuts to the actual pavement, and I understand that the plant broke down, and then there was a period of time where I guess their workers had a break and things like that. But I think if we do major paving in the future, I think we should be a bit more aware of you know, keeping those roads in a better condition. So that's done. Don't forget, we're going to head into budget time now from a municipality perspective. So I'd encourage anybody and everybody, if you can't attend or haven't been able to attend the pre-budget, to make sure you take an opportunity to write in or make some representation to us, because you know, it's the information like that that makes us go towards you know, preparing the budget and putting things in. Update on the depot, because it's the end of October now.
The completion date was extended out to November 4th.
Okay.
So we're hoping to have, you know, hoping to be able to
Okay.
take occupancy, I think November 4th, November 5th.
The delays are getting shorter, so that's a good sign.
Yeah.
So looking forward to that. Outside of that, trap line, I think congratulations to all the folks that participated in that as well. So, and that is it from me. Anything else from staff before I proceed to close the meeting? Staff, 1, 2, 3, 4. I know they're looking at me, but no, I see them.
I'll go with me.
Shake your heads. Life is wonderful, indeed. Yeah, okay. So with that, anything else before close meeting? All right. Motion to adjourn made by Councillor Rumble, seconded by Deputy Mayor Wallace. It's kind of like a tradition, isn't it? All those in favour indicate with aye.
Aye.
Contrary-minded, meeting's adjourned.